we obviously wanted to also talk to you about the elections.
Yeah.
It goes without saying that this really is a bottom-up approach. Like we talked about the last time you were on, the value of AOC is not on Capitol Hill. It's in New York City. The things that have been done to galvanize so many of these city council representatives, assembly members that have been winning their races. The higher races are obviously a lot higher to obtain. And of course, in the case of the governor's race, we saw that the progressives, even though they finished in second, were not able to get anywhere near the governor's seat just yet. But I think over time that's going to change, because the more we bring in these non-corporate progressive legislators at all levels of New York government, that is going to make a significant difference. And that is how eventually we get to the New York Health Act passing and all that. Your thoughts on that?
I absolutely agree there. And it makes me a little sick to my stomach to say what I'm about to say, but it's the truth. We should take more than a few pages from the conservative handbook. The reason why we have the tragic decisions that we've had the last couple of days, last couple of weeks from this Supreme Court is because 30, 40, 50 years ago, Republicans started to figure out that they needed to be long-term thinkers. Like, how do we actually put our people, I'm going to say ours, because I don't want to tie myself to that. But you understand what I'm saying? They said, how do we put folks that believe the same things that we believe in positions of power so that they can make decisions that will impact, further down the road? And that means that they started electing people to the school board 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. They started figuring out whenever they could name judges. So they put judges on track to become judges that could potentially become part of the Supreme Court. So we have to think long-term that way. Like, we have to. And so empowering folks, one of the things, by the way, that I think is also incredibly valuable as far as AOC is concerned, and one of the things that I'm such a fan of what she does, is that she has been able to move the Overton window over almost by sheer force of will. Like, there is a connection that she has to an entire generation of people who might be disconnected from politics. She has the ability and and just the willingness to explain things, to be able to connect with folks. It's like, I wish that I had, that I had gotten here. I mean, because I've been here. I'm an old guy. I am, I am the crotchety uncle, I call myself, of the progressive left. Like, I've been here. This is my 12th freaking year in legislative office. Stay off my lawn and all that. So somebody like I never had the connection that she has in social media circles to be able to say, like, hey, look at how we prepare for a legislative hearing. Look at what I do on a day-to-day basis to serve my constituency, to do this, and all of that is about kind of in the long term getting people to understand the process, but also to kind of change the perspective on what is possible in public policy, what is necessary, certainly, but what is possible, right? Because there's always, those two things are always competing with each other. The things that we actually need, but that's never going to happen in real life. Like, so, okay, but how do we get them closer and closer together? And I do think that her constant presence in public discussions about sort of these issues around energy, around healthcare, around taxation, et cetera, can and do move the needle. And these conversations obviously help as well.
I agree. This is totally like a non sequitur, but what was your life before you got dragged into the 12 years of vortex that you've been in? Were you a teacher?
Weirdly enough, I've been a professor. I've been a college professor since 99. I got to New York. So very quickly, born in Puerto Rico, raised there, got to New York in 98 to do a PhD in political science. But you'll notice that you don't put a PhD next to my name down here. So that's because I've never really got done. I'm technically still a PhD student, but I started teaching college in 99, and I never intended to run for anything. For me, it was, I started doing politics as an operative, like getting folks elected and learning kind of the operational aspect of, particularly of campaigns and field and how to, put canvases together and how to put talking points together, that sort of stuff. And it was just, so my work before was in public service as well, but it was doing it behind the scenes. And in 2000 and it was long ago, 2009, when the whole entire coup happened in the New York State Senate, and kids, as I said, stay off my lawn. Let me tell you how it used to be. In my day, two freaking people that called themselves Democrats joined the Republicans, threw the entire state Senate into a disarray and a coup that gave the Republicans power back. And that inspired, I said, I got to do something about this dude. And so I chopped off his head. Not literally, of course. Not literally, of course. But I defeated him in 2010. That was a guy named Pedro Espada. And defeated him in 2010. And I've been here ever since. And have been able to keep my sanity during this whole time and my focus. And enough that I spent 8 years in the minority. 8 years in the minority. And I tell everybody, being the minority in the New York State legislature, if you don't care, it's the sweetest job in the universe. Because you get an audible next to your name, you get a parking placard, you always have a place to sit in any event that you go to, but you're not responsible for anything. So if you don't care, it's like, yay! If you care, it is immensely frustrating. I spent 8 years doing that, and then I spent the last 3 years in the majority. And there's also frustrations that come with being in the majority. That being said, I have passed a bunch of bills that I'm incredibly proud of. I've been able to change policy conversations, been able to resist when the last governor tried to cut Medicaid in so many different ways. So I'm in the place where I need to be.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.